This week, the Motorhead Garage crew show how you can take your car, truck, or snowmobile to the next level and keep it looking good. Next on Motorhead Garage, presented by DragonFireTools.com.
Motorhead Garage, the program that each week introduces you to and shows you how to install the latest in exciting and innovative products for your vehicle. Now here's your host, Dave Dobson.
Hey there, Motorheads. You are locked into Motorhead Garage, presented by DragonFireTools.com. See, you've got an LT motor like this one here, or an LS motor, and you want a little more thump in that? Well, you want to go to the place that has the best performance parts. That's Brian Tooley Racing. And here's Brian Tooley himself to tell us why we know that you have the best performance parts out there.
I think one of our strengths is the fact that we focus on specific genre of engine, right? When you look at Chevrolet Gen 3 through Gen 5, that's primarily what we focus on. You know, rather than trying to make camshafts for small block Chevy, small block Ford, and big block Chevy, and big block Ford, and lots of other genres. I think because we specialize in just those few genres of Chevrolet engines, that enables us to spend a lot more time and money and focus, and therefore to develop the best load designs, the best camshafts. So I think that niche focus is one of our biggest strengths.
And you also told me beforehand, testing is a big focus for you. Why is that?
Well, you know, what we're finding out, evidently, because, you know, we develop lobes in-house, we have a Spintron in-house that we check the dynamics of the lobe design, and then the engine dyno, of course, for power. And what we're finding is some of our competitors don't have Spintrons. Maybe they don't even design lobes in-house. They're grinding cams in-house, but they don't actually design the lobes in-house. So because they're not designing lobes in-house or not testing the lobes in-house in a Spintron, you know, they're missing the dynamic part in terms of measuring the dynamics of that lobe design. And the dynamics equates to durability. I don't care how much power something makes. If it breaks 5,000 or 10,000 miles down the road, it's no good.
Makes a lot of sense, whether you're racing or just on the street as well.
Right.
And let's talk specifically about your camshafts now. We have the one in the front there. Who's using that camshaft, and tell me about that a little bit.
So this is actually our Red Hot camshaft, and it's a very interesting cam because we developed it for a naturally aspirated LS3, and then we tested it on a centrifugal supercharged LS3 and also a positive displacement supercharged LS3, and it actually performed incredibly well on all three. There's that other company that makes a sauce that says that they put that stuff on everything, right? And so we say we put that shaft in everything.
It's the shaft of all trades.
Yeah, and ironically, I've got a C5Z06 that I road race just for fun. I actually put that shaft in that LS6 engine, which is not what that camshaft was developed for, but it works incredibly well. It makes, you know, great average torque. And but what's really interesting about this cam in a centrifugal supercharged engine is we had an LS3 centrifugal supercharged cam that's 227 intake duration. This cam with only 221 intake duration makes 35 horsepower more than that cam, you know, 6 degrees more duration.
We found that out through the ever important testing.
Through the testing, yeah, exactly.
And then you've got push rods here, which you tell me are the best around. It's just a stick. What can make your push rods better than others?
Well, as simple as that one-piece design is, you know, we thought the three-piece design would be better with the hardened inserted tips, but what we found was just the few grams of increased mass of that three-piece push rod was not as dynamically stable on the Spintron as the one-piece design.
Wow. And then moving on to the intakes here, you've got, this is the equalizer.
Yes, sir.
Basically an upper and lower plenum design in there to distribute the air throughout. So that's a very cool piece there. And then tell me about the Trinity here.
So the Trinity is designed, you know, like a billet intake three-piece. It's the only cast aluminum three-piece intake on the market designed like a billet. And the difference is when you put both of these on a let's say an LS3, because we make them for LS3, this one has better cylinder distribution. The Trinity makes more peak horsepower, but doesn't have quite as good a cylinder distribution. You know, so let's say you've got, you know, an aftermarket ECU and you can tune the engine by cylinder. You know, if you've got a rich cylinder, lean cylinder, you know, then the Trinity is obviously kind of the ultimate. If you want something that's a little simpler, you're running a stock ECU, you're not doing the individual cylinder, you know, trim, fuel trim, then the equalizer is easy.
And most of them out there are billet aluminum. And how do these compare performance-wise?
Performance-wise, on the dyno, we've actually seen our Trinity intake outpower a competitor's billet intake, but that goes back to the design of the runner itself and, you know, not the material it's made from.
Well, they say the proof is in the pudding. Well, there's your pudding right back there. That Camaro, everything's stock on that except for an intake manifold, cylinder heads, and a camshaft from Brian Tooley Racing. They're getting 200 more horsepower out of that than stock, 740 horsepower. You can find all these parts at briantooleyracing.com. And you can find more Motorhead Garage presented by dragonfiretools.com right after this.
Motorhead Garage, presented by DragonFireTools.com, is brought to you by AP Laser, leading the way. And by RockAuto.com, all the parts your car will ever need.
Welcome back to Motorhead Garage, presented by DragonFireTools.com. If you're a professional detailer or if you just like to keep your car looking good, a name you want to know is Buff Bright. And Tom, you've been in the business for what,
42 years.
42 years, so you know what you're doing when it comes to detailing. And I just want to show you this man's credentials. Take a look at the sleeve there. So what's the IDA?
The IDA is the International Detailing Association. It's like ASE is to mechanics. It's a whole bunch of people around the world that are in a part of an organization to help each other out and help the detailing community grow and become even more than it is now.
And so basically you are one of only 20-some certified IDA instructors when it comes to detailing.
Yeah, the recognized industry trainers, independent trainers, and we work to certify people and get them the credentials they want with the IDA.
All that to say this man knows what he's doing. So he solved a lot of problems in those 42 years. And what's one of the first things you tackled in the detailing business?
So it kind of came about, I was working on a car and the light over me went out in the garage, and I was too lazy to go get a new ballast and fix it. And I said, I need lighting. I was working on a black 69 Camaro. And so I came up with an idea that we should hook lighting to a polisher. So the first thing we came up with was the flamethrower. And this light puts light exactly where you need it. Some guys wear headlamps, some guys hold a flashlight in their teeth.
Done that.
And some guys will put a light behind them. But the one thing we all realize is that without the proper lighting, if you can't see it, you can't fix it.
Well, and the side of the vehicle, especially toward the bottom,
absolutely,
the light doesn't work the same way. Everybody's hood looks great.
Yeah, because you've got light up there.
Yeah.
But yeah, the sides are the tough part. And we've all been there in the detail business where you polish your car and you pull it out in the sun and you realize, oh, I missed it.
Yep.
So you got to pull back in and do it again until you get it right. This makes it perfect the first time.
Yes. How bright is it?
800 lumen light. We're sitting at about 7,800 Kelvin. What's really interesting about this light is how long the battery will last. It'll make it 10 to 12 hours. There's not very many lights out there, even headlamps, that will last that long on the market. So this really gives us a lot of time to work with it. Now this is our latest iteration. This is the Flamethrower 3. What's neat about it, the Flamethrower 2 disconnected, so you can actually take this off. You can clock it to different directions. On some polishers, you can move it to the front of the polisher, but this one will pop out like that. And we have a headband, so you can have a headband on your head, and it just comes, snaps in, and you've got that headlight, and you can move right to the inside of the car. And then when you're done, you can just snap it back in here. So we can hook it to some of the mini polishers that are out. We can also hook it to a vacuum tool. We have clamps that'll hook to there. You can snap it on there, readjust your light. Now when you're vacuuming in a dark car, you'll see everything that's in there.
Very cool.
It'll hook to an extractor, snap on up there. If it's round, we can hook a clamp to it, and it'll just mount on there, and it's phenomenal how well it works.
I love it. Another problem you found is guys that are professional detailers. A lot of them are doing YouTube videos and doing stuff for their online marketing. So you came up with something that's going to help them grow their brand.
Absolutely. So these are the Buff Bright skins, and you might notice right there.
I see that. Very familiar logo. I love it.
We've got that on there for you guys, and we're going to leave you guys with some of those so you and your team can have those to take home, put on your polishers.
Excellent.
We call the 3 Ps to this brand: protect, promote, and personalize. So you can actually take that and put it in your social media, and you're going to see that. If you're an industry vendor or something like that and you're selling stuff to people and you want to create these, you can use it as advertising, put it on your customers' polishers, and now they're advertising your brand. It really gives you the opportunity to take advantage of some valuable real estate.
So that solves the problem on the outside of the car. What about the inside? I know pet hair is something that is just the enemy of everybody trying to get their car clean.
Every detailer has been in those marathon pet hair removals that just take hours and hours to get done. So, and I have 2 German Shepherds, so I know exactly what that's about. Yeah, you're bringing up one
tool.
here.
Yeah, we got one of those.
Yep,
you have the scraper like that.
Yep.
And then you have the brush that a lot of people are familiar with. It has a little scraper on the side. they still never get the job quite done. So what have you done to fix their problem?
Yeah, there's stones and everything else, but they are really hard to work with and scratch the interior. So what we came up with, we call it the for real. It looks like an eel, has little eyes to it and stuff. It'll hook to any vacuum in the world. We have adapters for it that will fit everything from a large shop vac hose to the smallest little hoses. And I'll show you something else we've done here in a minute. But this pops off of this adapter, this mini crevice tool. It'll also, if you're at the car wash and you have this one, it'll actually slide right onto this.
Nice.
So you can just throw it in your glove box. It'll fit 1.25 inches inside, 1.5 inches outside. So when you go to the car wash, you can put that on there. And this just absolutely destroys pet hair.
As we saw, we added some pet hair to one of our colleagues' vehicles here, and boy, we ground that stuff in, and that took care of it. For real is for real.
It really does work. We've tried every other pet hair tool on the market. It's 5 times faster than any of them. And this is our latest one. This is called the Fur Eel Pro 2. And if you compare it to our older one, these last 10 times long as the original. And these just came out and they're amazing.
Great. And for folks that need a little wider head, you've got the hammerhead there.
Yep.
And then you have adapters to make everything fit. Quickly, let's talk about those.
Yeah, you bet. We've had the standard ones that are out there in the market that we offer to our customers, but we just released the Vario. This one is called the Vario Max, and this is called the Vario Mini. If you've got a round hose, which everyone has on a vacuum, allows you to take that and adapt it. You can just go ahead and twist it, and it gets bigger. This one, you twist it and it gets smaller for the smaller size hoses, and it just fixes all the adaptation problems in the world.
You got it. Well, they're solving problems. They're going to make your detailing job a lot better and a whole lot easier. Buffbright.com is the place to go. And you can check out more Motorhead Garage presented by DragonFireTools.com when we come back. Don't go anywhere.
Motorhead Garage, brought to you by Dragonfire Tools, industrial workbenches with integrated tool storage.
You are cruising along with Motorhead Garage presented by DragonFireTools.com. The name on the screen says Woog, but don't let that fool you. That's Eric Volk there, and he's with Alpine Motorsports and Volk Performance. Eric, your name is synonymous with the snowmobile. How'd you get started in this business and wrapped up in all of this?
Actually was inspired by my father, who was a snowmobile racer, and as I grew through the years and my passion for snowmobiles increased, I started a dealership, Alpine Motorsports, about 30 years ago in 1990. As that developed, it kind of spawned into some relationships with engineering and development, first with Arctic Cat and then some other manufacturers that reached out to us. And as that happened, that spawned a wealth of other relationships, as you can imagine, and we never really intended for Volk to be a consumer brand. Our testing and development got noticed by a lot of different companies, different TV production crews reached out and asked me to be their technical advisor, and that landed us at the X Games. And I think that was probably a big turning point for us. And people started asking if we would just build their sleds rather than tell them what products work really good. As we still stick to the core things: empirical testing, data logging, dyno work at altitude.
You mentioned the key word there, altitude. That's what you specialize in, high altitude performance. And what are the key things when it comes to operating at altitude?
That's a tough answer, really, but I'll try to summarize it. As most people know, and most of the hot rodders that might be watching this know, altitude's a destroyer of horsepower in naturally aspirated snowmobiles. And we utilize two-strokes because weight is a critical consideration in the snowmobile industry. You're typically operating in very deep snow. Deep snow requires lighter weight, more dynamic power, and just more robust power. And so we achieve that by making alterations to the stock equipment to enhance its capacity to run at higher altitudes more efficiently.
What is some of the equipment you can change out from the stock snowmobile to make it run better up there in the mountains?
I have to say there's a myriad of things, so there's almost no end to what can be changed. But snowmobiling is a lot of things to a lot of people. You have very segmented groups of snowmobilers, and maybe somebody that's familiar with the industry knows, well, there's trail or there's mountain, snow cross competition, ditch bangers, things like that. But out west, it is equally as segmented. So you have guys that want to climb chutes, these ridiculously steep things, that want to bang around in a tree-riddled, rock-strewn box canyon in the middle of nowhere in 12 foot of snow. And every snowmobiler has a different expectation of their snowmobile. So we go through this process to establish all these different things that a person might need or want. So the key things, like for instance, oftentimes we do suspension upgrades to increase both comfort, sled dynamic, weight. Lighter weight components are critical, as I mentioned. Running boards are a good example for better snow evacuation in deep snow. Of course, the next major consideration is engine output, horsepower. So we typically employ either a big bore or a turbo, and in our turbo applications, they vary as well. Sometimes we marry both a big bore and a turbo. So in doing that, we're able to effectively double the crankshaft horsepower of a stock snowmobile at this altitude. And you can imagine when you have twice as much power with a lighter sled and a bunch of other things that are very necessary, the experience gets to be quite fun.
Now, all those performance parts are great, but there's one magic element that kind of pulls them all together that you sell.
Yeah, it's the ability to interface with the factory ECU. We use an interface tool called a VOC torque link. It's an encrypted device that allows us to essentially change all of the parameters and correction tables inside of the factory ECU to be able to marry the technologies that we apply to the build specific to that user. Really a key tool.
If I live up in the mountains and I want to get a snowmobile from you, how do I start the process?
Well, it's simple. You got a couple of options. You can give us a jingle at the shop, or you can just hit us up on our website, voc.com.
Now, you are world-renowned for your snowmobile prowess. Where are your customers coming from?
Honestly, our customers are very diverse worldwide. We've shipped sleds to Finland, Sweden, and all over the United States. We have a large following. Western and high altitude applications are our main focus.
Well, thanks for being with us, Eric. Folks at home, if you're looking for the perfect snowmobile to run at altitude, check them out at voc.com, VOHK.com. And find more Motorhead Garage presented by DragonFireTools.com when we come back.
Motorhead Garage, presented by DragonFireTools.com, is brought to you by Amsoil, the first in synthetics, and by AG Products, be the king of clean.
Welcome back to Motorhead Garage, presented by DragonFireTools.com. We have shown you how the system from AG Products can make your car look great on the outside and on the inside. But, Dave, what if you just have a vehicle like this, great looking hot rod you just want to take to a car show for the weekend? I need a quick cleanup. What do you have for me?
Oh, our waterless wash. It's super simple. It's a spray on, wipe off. It's got hydrophobic agents in it, which will protect from getting the car scratched. So as you wipe it off with a microfiber towel, a nice soft towel, you can get through your car very quickly, get on the road to your car show, and your car is nice and clean and protected.
All right, and there's one more step you want to take if you want to protect it even further.
Yeah, that's our strawberry lemonade. It's our spray and wax. Again, same process as the waterless wash. You're just going to do a simple spray and wipe, and it's even more protected with wax on it. It's not synthetic, it's carnauba, so it's going to last a lot longer.
So it's real carnauba wax, but folks are going to ask, is this safe for my vehicle?
Yes, biodegradable. Yeah, this stuff it breaks down really well. If it does get into the environment, into the dirt, grass, wherever it may spill, it's totally fine. And it actually restores color, keeps the car extra clean, and trust me, people will see the results and they'll like it.
All right, the next question folks are asking me is, how long is this going to last once I put it on the vehicle?
Yeah, see, the waterless wash is just a soap-based, so it's just like any type of wash, any type of soap. So it's just going to go on clean, it'll dry, you're good to go. The wax does last quite a while.
What's some of the feedback you get from guys taking hot rods to a car show and using your products to get ready?
Oh, great response. I mean, people have seen that it's holding up against some of our top competitors. We're new to the industry, and it's doing really well. They're happy with it. We've gotten positive feedback from everyone that has bought and has tried, even demoed at car shows. They're really impressed.
See why all those customers are satisfied? Go to shopagproducts.com.
Every year, automobiles are gaining horsepower, and they're also getting good emissions, nice low emissions. Well, in the past, that wasn't the case. You either had horsepower and bad emissions, or good emissions and not a lot of horsepower. So what's the deal? Today, we're getting them both. Well, that's because of fuel injection, and that's what this AMSOIL Tech Tip's all about, fuel injection. Where do we start? Well, the evolution, of course. Let's take a look at fuel injection. Well, it evolved from carburation. Carburation was on your old cars, no fuel injection whatsoever. We just dumped the fuel down there, and that's what you got. But it was nice, wet, rich mixture. That's important. Then we went to TBI, which was fuel injection. It's throttle body injection. Actually went down over the actual throttle body, washed the valves. Once again, a nice, rich mixture. Then we went up to the multi-port injection. You can see the injector right above the valve. We got a little bit leaner, we got better fuel control, but we were still washing the valve. Well, today, folks, we're down to direct injection. And Len, that's important because with direct injection comes some inherent problems. Things like super lean mixtures, high pressures in the cylinder creating a lot of heat. That's a problem.
Heat is a problem, and that's what you're fighting here, because heat has a tendency to build deposits, and that's what we're seeing. We're seeing deposits on piston crowns, ring lands, injectors. We're seeing spray patterns being affected. So that's why we're recommending an additive in the form of our upper cylinder lubricant. It's got a real potent detergency in it, designed to take those high heat situations that we're putting the fuel into, and we are recommending that every single tank. You want to do it often.
And that's important. I mean, putting it in the tank, these fuel systems, they can be dangerous. I mean, we're talking about high pressure, and you really don't want to go in there and start busting open these lines with all the emissions and things that are going on. It's hard to get it into the fuel injection system. So the tank's the best way to go?
It is, right. You want it, the easiest way to bring it in there is through the fuel tank, through the injector itself.
And you want it every time you run it? Is that the best way to do it, especially with the heat and the problem?
This would be considered an every tank fuel additive, yes, sir.
Well, there you go. I'm going to add it to my car, so you can too. Just check them out on the website at amsoil.com.
Hey, do me a favor. If you've got a product you've come up with, maybe a company you've started, and you want to see your product here on Motorhead Garage, email me, dave@motorheadgarage.tv. We'll get you here in our studio. We're going to do it once again next week. We hope you join us then from our entire crew here at Motorhead Garage, presented by DragonFireTools.com. Drive safely. We'll see you.